Hello there, Christmas lighting friends. This is Scott, your Christmas lighting friend, your helper-outer, hopefully. I've had a lot of people ask me for a video on how to put together these bubble light candolier kits that are currently being sold on eBay or have been sold on eBay. This is one of them. They have 9 sockets in them. They're hard plastic. This one's the one that comes in the metal flake. It's like silver metal flake. Anyway, so it also comes with all the other parts as well. Hold on a second. Sorry, my kitchen is a mess today. It also comes with a lead-in cord as part of the kit. Right here, there it is. It comes with the 9 brass shells for each one, which are right here. Yep, right there. Okay, you see that's what's going to hold your light bulb. Okay, it also comes with a template, I believe, to make what looks like an original bottom. That would be a cardboard bottom, and then also some plugs to hold that in. They're little black plugs, and they hold the bottom on. All right, so I'm going to try to do this really fast, and hopefully you will all get it really fast, because I've already done a lot of the work in advance, all right? All right, so what I've instructed people by typing to them and telling them is that you want to take 8 of your brass shells and solder a 5-inch piece of 20 gauge or maybe 18 gauge wire that's stranded copper. I don't know if you could see it, but it's got real thin copper wires. Okay, and they're stranded. You could twist them like this once you've skinned them off. You take 8 of these, 8 pieces that are 5 inches long, like this. Okay, and you skin off just a little bit off the end. Let's see, right here. Yep, right there. See how I skinned it off at the end? All right. And then you skin it off at the other end over here on this end. I've already done that part because I wanted to sort of get a jump start on the video. All right, and I've already gone and I've soldered the brass shell, soldered it right into the bottom, right there. That's your bottom connector. Unlike antique shells, like I believe this one right here is an antique shell. If you look in the bottom of the socket, I don't know if you could see it, but there's essentially a little tab in the bottom. That way the wire doesn't come all the way through. With these, sadly, they are a hole down in there. It's a little brass hole. It's a little brass holder. And so you got to be careful not to push your wire too far down into that hole. You want it so that it's flush on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but this is pretty flush down in there. You don't want a huge gob of that sticking up. That'll, as you screw in your light bulbs, it'll slowly but surely wear the bottom leads off your light bulb, so you don't really want to do that. You really want that to be sort of flush and flat on the bottom. It's a trick to soldering, so you're just going to have to, practice at it, and hopefully you'll get it right. In soldering, I'm going to give you a quick suggestion. You can buy these at Harbor Freight. They're called helping hands. You see, they've got all these wonderful little clips and stuff. And the way I was able to do mine really fast, I clipped it in like this. I set it upright like that. I put the point of my soldering gun right here. See my point? And I put it right, into the place where it's supposed to get soldered in. I put a dab of solder on that ring before I put the wire in, and then I soldered it. Then I took the wire and held to it and melted that solder and pushed it into the melted solder and waited till the copper wires also soldered well with the solder, and the whole thing soldered together. My suggestion to everybody who's not good at soldering, like me, I'm horrible. Pull. See how I'm pulling right now? I'm pulling like this. You've got to pull to make sure that you've got that solder right and it's good and solid. There's no point in making this thing and then find out that one of the wires didn't connect right, okay? Now, all right, so next, what you're going to do is you're going to stick all 8 of those in, okay? That's 8 out of 9. 1 over here. Sorry, I'm trying to film this with a holder that's on my chest, so it's hard to to actually show you everything, you know, 'cause that's why the camera keeps wandering. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are all about 5 inches long that I made. All right, they don't need to be that long. Now look, the 9th one over here. Let me move my helping hands out of the way for a minute. Okay, is a long one. See, look, it's real long. It's meant to go the entire length of the unit, which is about, I don't know what this is, 14 or 15 inches. You can just pull it and measure it. Another question I'm sure people are going to be asking is, well, where did you get this handy dandy wire that you're using? Okay, I'm an old collector. I have 1,000 old C6 socket sets laying around that I pulverize for parts. Ones like this right here. You see how they're, you know, I've already taken a socket off of this one right here. And I just use all the old wire again is what I'm using. If you want to go buy new wire, I understand that finding this wire might be a little hard. Okay, I don't know what to tell you about that. It's either 18 or 20 gauge. You're going to have to ask questions and find out. I've even heard that it's 22 gauge, but that by the time you get to 24 gauge, it's too small. One thing you could consider doing is using 18 gauge lamp cord, and you strip it in half because that's got the positive and negative wire or the copper and silver wire in it, whatever. And it's always split down the middle, and you can split it and peel it apart like that, and just use the copper wire to do all your connecting here. You could try to use the cord that was sent to you, but you know, everybody wants to have a nice long cord on the end to be able to have a lot of length to plug it into a wall somewhere. So you really should try to save this cord that was sent for the unit to actually be used as your lead-in cord, and I will refer to it from now on as the lead-in cord. Here's the hole right here. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the hole for the lead-in cord. Let me see if I can spin it around, and you see right there, there's an opening, and that's where the lead-in cord should rest in. Okay, right now, we're just going to be concerned with how we're going to do this unit. I'm probably going to pause this in a little bit, and I'll complete the work, and then after telling you how to do it and showing you how to do it. So now that you've done this, you've got this wire coming out of the bottom of each one, okay? This comes out of the bottom of each socket, including the long one at the end, okay? They all come out of the bottom of the sockets. Now, in order to make this a series, all right, set, essentially, you're going to take this first one right here, okay? And you've already skinned it off, hopefully, all right? And you're going to run it over to the second one and pop it out of its hole and pop it up through the top like this, okay? And there you go. And you're going to now solder it right here to the side of the socket. And you're going to have to make sure that no loose little copper wires are loose or hanging out, because you don't want one wire to go from here and touch the one on the bottom. So I'm going to try this and see if I can do this successfully, because I really am a bad solderer. I'm really pretty pathetic at it. But you can, I believe they call it tinning, where you take a little bit of your solder and you can heat up the spot where you want to put it and put a little bit of your solder right on there and melt it. I hope you're getting this in the video. All right, and see how I left a little blob on there? And then you can just take this and stick it in there. I think I have to bring this socket way far down now in order to do that. and bend your wire so that it wants to go right onto it, okay? This is really tricky, the soldering stuff, okay? And again, I am no good at it. As you can see, I can't even touch the wire to it. But 90% of that's because I'm blind. So here we go. We're going to try to solder. And you got to press sort of firmly and get that solder to melt and melt onto it. And then hopefully, well, see, look, I didn't do it. But it might be best to put a little bit of solder on to the wire that you're going to solder as well. Here, I'm hoping, maybe. My soldering gun's getting really tricky. It's not working very well. And of course, it'd be handy if I had solder popping out. Here we are. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It looks like it's not getting hot enough to even melt the solder at this point. I may have to just ditch this video and try again. Here we go. So apparently I've got some and it's on here. Let's see if I can get it on. Again, these have come all untwisted, and they always do. So again, I'm going to try again. This is really difficult, guys. I'm telling you. There's nothing easy about any part of this. So if you have an electrical friend that knows how to do this kind of stuff, you may want to get them to do it for you. Seriously. Trust me, if I could pay somebody to do it, I would. It would be well worth it. And I'm blowing on it now to hopefully get it to cool. And we'll see if I got a good solder or not, because I'm a bad solderer, I'm telling you. So let's see. I'm yanking on it really hard. It went on. You can double check the bottom to make sure no wires are touching. And there you have it. That one's done. All right, and this one's now done, except for it has to be connected to the lead-in wire. What you're going to do is you're going to do that all the way down to every single one and solder each one coming out of the bottom onto the next one's side of the bottom side of the socket down here, okay? And then you'll get to the end, and hopefully we'll do part 2 of the video tomorrow, because this is exhausting. and it's really quite tedious, okay? I hope that right now that's got you all helped. Maybe you can just fumble through without watching any more video on your own. What's going to ultimately happen at the end, when you've gone run, boom, boom, all the way down, I believe if you look at these little sockets, you'll see that they have sort of a jaggedy edge on them right here. It's my understanding that these are supposed to catch and grip once you've pushed them in. As an advanced collector, I have what I call a socket puller here, and I will use that to push this in when I'm done, and I'll sit this down hard and I'll give it a little bang with a hammer like that. Here, well, anyway, I think you get the point. You'll screw it into the socket, okay, and then you'll bang, bang, bang with just lightly with a hammer. You don't need to bang hard. It's just enough to get it to sink down in there. It looks like this one's already sunk in, and that was just with my hand. If you're leery that they might still pop out, the other thing you can do, here, let's see if I can pull it out. I'll put a light bulb in it, and we'll see if I can pull it out. No, see, look, I pushed it in by hand. But if you're a little bit afraid, you could take and put a little bit of Aleene's glue on it, tacky glue. Let me see if I can pull my tacky glue out here. This is what I use. You could put a little bit like on the bottom of the socket and just glue it into place as well. Just remember that if you ever have to rewire this again, that glue is going to be holding that socket in. It's going to be hard to get it out. Generally, pressure is enough to get it to work. All right, so again, to the end, you're going to do each one now coming out of the bottom and take it over to the side of the next one right there. And it's going to go right there on the side, right there, okay? And then it's going to go all the way, you're going to go all the way down. Now, you've got this long one at the end, and you're probably wondering, well, why do I have that long one? All right, so the long one, video holder is really horrible. Okay, it's going to come all the way down here to where your lead-in wire is, okay? And you're going to take your lead-in wire here. Let's go ahead and get it sort of prepped up anyway. So maybe it'll make sense. Oh, Lord, I should have had this done already. And you're going to split the lead-in wire because it's a double wire. You see where it's double here? Okay, so you're going to split it right here. You know, you can use like a box cutter or something like this here. Look, and go like that, and you see how it splits? It splits nicely. What I would suggest you do is take and tie a knot in it right here like that, okay? Right where the split is, okay? So now there's a knot, and look, that knot will rest nicely in this little tuck away here, like that, okay? You see? And you'll never be able to pull that cord out of the holder. It's a little electrical secret that is a big handy helper. What's going to end up happening is, okay, oops, I dropped my cord. Oh, heavens. All right, actually, I should not have put that first socket in. I am going to need it, so I will use my socket puller to pull it out. And this is how a socket puller works. Look, you screw it in till it's pretty snug, okay? And then you run the bolt down, which pushes the washer down and puts even pressure on the socket, and whoops, it pops it right out. It actually wasn't all the way down and tight enough, so that's fine. Okay, and what's going to end up happening is you're going to take, okay, remember your lead-in wire, here it is, okay? You're going to take and strip off some of the copper here, or some of the plastic here rather, and some of the plastic on this one, so you're going to strip it from each one of the two wires, and you're going to solder one onto the side of the first socket. Right here. And you remember that long one that comes down? You're going to strip a little more off of this. And you can twist tie it on if you want, okay? And then put some electrical tape around it. Or you could wrap it this way, strip both of these, and then twist them together, and then put an electric nut on it. And hopefully that'll be good and safe, and you can tuck all that up in there when you're done. Remember, you're going to put a cardboard bottom on this bad boy, so that'll hide all that stuff. So anyway, that's part one, and hopefully part two. I hope that gets you through, and I don't have to do a part two, but for right now, remember it's a series light set, okay? So the series goes from the bottom of the first socket to the side of the second socket. It leaves out of the bottom of the second socket and goes over to the side of the third socket, okay? And so on and so forth, all the way down to the end. Once it gets to the end, okay, it comes out of the bottom of that socket, okay? And it goes all the way back to the main lead-in cord. Okay, so just remember that. And hopefully that gets you guys through. Okay. Good luck with it. All right, folks, this is Scott, your Christmas lighting friend. This is sort of just the end or part two of how to make a modern reproduction royal bubble light stand like the one you see here. This is the silver flake one. This is part two of part one. And I want to say something in my video right now. I want you guys to know that I love helping everybody. So I have no problem. You want to email me through the YouTube or whatever, please do. Go ahead. But also keep in mind that just because I say this is the way to do it does not mean that it is correct all the time, or the easiest for that matter. You may find that your way is easier. And if so, again, I always say this in one of my videos or several of them, please do a video and show everyone how to do it and do it even better. Anyway, I went through, all right, and as you can see, I finished it, and it works beautiful. And let me tell you something, too. On the first run, it did not work. Okay, I got it all done. I put C6 cone bulbs in it. By the way, guys, when you want to test either a bubble light tree out that you just bought or anything that's got C6 sockets, I'm telling you right now, especially if it's a bubble light item, use cones first. For some reason, cones always seem to get to the bottom of the socket down in here and make the bottom contact a lot easier often than bubble lights do. Anyway, I did it. It didn't work. I had to go back through, check all my solder joints, which you all should do too. Double, triple check your solder joints before you set your sockets down in tight, okay? That's another thing I wanted to mention. Supposedly with these kit units that we all get from you-know-who, Suzi-Snowflake, they come with the brass shells, right? And the brass shells really don't need gluing in per se, but if you find that they're way too loose, go ahead and put some glue on, but whatever you do, use a water-soluble glue like Aleene's. Here we go, I'm bringing it down. This is the silver one, or the gold bottle. They also have super quick dry or something like that that's white. It doesn't matter, any of them work. The reason I suggest water-soluble is because should something go wrong in the future, it will allow you to soak the damn thing in water and boom, all that glue gets soft and all your stuff pops back out. Another thing you can also do is use a hairdryer on the glue. And a lot of times when you do that with Aleene's, it becomes very rubbery and able to be then pulled off or softened enough that you can actually probably pull the socket out. Speaking of which, the socket puller. Socket puller is going to be your best friend. And here it is. I showed you this in part 1, okay? This is what I used when I got done to set my my sockets down in deep. So here, I'm going to show you real quick how I did that. I'm going to also unplug the Candolier so I don't give you all a thrill, okay? All right, so the Candolier is unplugged, by the way. All right, and what I do is I back off my tightening nut, okay, and I just simply screw it into the socket, and you'll know when you hit it. It pretty much tightens up. Do it so that it's straight up and down, okay, and just give it a little light tap with a hammer, and hold on to it while you're doing it. You'll sort of feel it drop down a little bit like that. And that'll be good. Now, I want you to see how deep I have mine in, because newbies may not want to go down that deep. They may think, oh, it'll never make contact. So you see how deep those are. Those are down in there deep. And look, Noma bubble lights are going down in there and making a connection. All right, let's see. What else did I want to cover with this? All right, again, I knotted my lead-in wire right here, okay, so that when I put the bottom on, the lead-in wire will go on in. You can make your connections any way you want. I just decided to use wire nuts to connect them. And what I did was, I don't know if I showed you in my first one, but I went ahead and I made one more 5-inch piece. Okay, and I connected it to the side of this brass shell, the first one by the opening here, okay? And so there's 2 5s coming off of this one. There's one going over to the next socket, okay? That's the one that comes out of the bottom, and then the one connected to the side comes down here and connects to this lead-in wire here. And then, remember that long one I told you about, the 15 or so inch one? Here it is right here. Follow it down all the way. And that one connects to the other lead-in wire right there. You can solder them together and then electrical tape them if you want. You can do it any old way you want. All right, now I'm going to do a quick little reference. for people who get deep into these bubble light candeliers, and especially people who buy originals. I gotta tell you, working on an original one is really super hard, okay? And I'm not sure why. I've never heard this 100%, but I believe that the brass shells may have been molded into the plastic, which, got the handy-dandy socket puller here. You use that to try to yank out one of these in an original Royal. You will crack and break. It'll crack in all directions, and it'll just pull the plastic and everything out with it. So don't use your socket puller on an original Royal. If you have a bad socket in your original Royal, like the bottoms popped out or whatever, you are going to have to find a way to get that out of there. The fastest way I did the last time was I took my Dremel and I put a real fine grinder bit on my Dremel. And I went down in there and I Dremeled out a lot of that brass. And then I was able to take an X-Acto blade and catch some of that upper brass ring up there, way up, right up here at the tip of my thumb. Okay, I was able to catch it, bend it in, grab it with needle nose pliers, and carefully pull it out so as not to break any of the plastic here. Okay, you got to be careful if you're working with an original. I don't know, again, were they molded into the plastic? I don't know. But it could just be that these bad boys get hot. They really do. Even though there's nine running, they still get super hot. Especially Royals. Royals, you'll see the bottoms of your Royal bubble lights melt, even in a 9 lighter. So you got to keep an eye on your Royals, okay? But I think it's either that they were molded in, or over time, the plastic that they were stuck down into may have melted and sort of shrunk in to the metal threads in there, and now it holds on to it forever. So I believe we're done. What else did I want to cover? I forgot. I have since found out that the wire that you would like to purchase is 22 gauge, okay? 22 gauge copper stranded wire. I understand it's hard to find. You probably just can't get it at a hardware store. You may have to order it from a wire company that sells it. There's several of them online. Sadly, I don't have that information in front of me, so if you really need to know, you can try to email me, or you can come to our Facebook group where a lot of us are. It's called Christmas Lighting of Yesterday and Today. And you can pose that question there, and you'll get about 52 answers of all different gauges. But it's my understanding that the one that Noma used, Royal used, Paramount used was 22 gauge. I understand that the Japanese may have used 24, which was a bit thinner. And you really want to use 22 just to be safe. One more quick, I don't know if I said it in part 1. I think I did, but I'll repeat it. If you're still looking to get wire to do this with, you can buy a good quality lamp wire. That's pretty much what this is. This is pretty heavy duty stuff. You could actually get a thinner lamp cord, take your knife and split it in the middle here, and then separate the 2 wires away. And then just take one of the wires and use it to do all your running between the sockets, and then the long one to come back. You could do that too, and that'll be safe because, hell, it was meant to light a lamp, and a household light fixture and stuff. So, it's pretty good. Anyway, if you have any questions, you're just going to have to email me. It's C6lights, LITES, @gmail.com, and I'll try to help you out with anything you might need help on. Good luck. You remember to get that cardboard cut out and put on the bottom of this so your fingers don't get caught in this. And the last other thing, again, remember, after you've soldered, don't just assume you got it soldered. Double check. Pull with all your might to make sure you got it. You may find one that just pips right off, And it's a good thing you found out then after you've put it all together and then it pops off. Okay? Anyway, good luck. Have fun. Merry Christmas. And I hope to see some of these bubbling away on our Facebook posts. Bye.